Inspires Me, a show about wellness, amazing people, and information to inspire you to take charge of your life and your health. This episode is a recording of a QA session I did with Vance Hinds, the gentleman who was recently on my podcast for his 200-pound weight loss. We thought it would be cool for people to have the opportunity to talk to two guys who have had amazing weight losses, and both at different stages. During the session, we got some really great questions and response. We hope you enjoy it.
Oh, all right. Okay. So we got, all right, 16 people. Well, we'll wait another minute or two here. I know we've messed around. It's about 10 after. So folks, you know why you're here, right? So we're here to chat with me and Vance. What we're going to do, I'll give you guys just a little background on what we're trying to do today. So obviously this is a Q&A session. Vance and I met not too long ago, and I had heard his story, and I have a similar background, similar story, and we got together and started chatting, and I said, hey, would you be on my podcast show? So some of you guys probably saw, he recently came on my podcast, had an awesome time chatting, learned a lot about Vance and his story. We compared notes, which was cool because to have two guys who've been through similar experiences kind of sit back and talk about, hey, what did you do? What did I, this is what I did, and kind of compare is really, really exciting. So we're going to have some fun tonight, and I want you guys to feel free to ask questions. I agree, Mary Jane. It was the best podcast. And hey, feel free. I've had some really, listen, the Mike Inspires Me mission is to inspire people to take charge of their lives and their health. And that's what Vance and I are here to do today. We really want to get people excited about their health, because you could take a look at this guy's face here, just how healthy and happy he looks. And that was the first thing that I saw when I wanted to reach out to him. I said, boy, this guy looks like he's really, really just enjoying his life. And I couldn't wait to find out what he was doing. But let me give you a little background on myself, and then I'll turn it over to Vance. Vance, if you want to talk too. But so obviously I'm Mike Harrington, for those of you who don't know me, back here in Connecticut, again, my home. Most of my adult life, I did struggle with obesity. As a lot of us do, right? Unfortunately, though, through the years, my weight increased as I got towards my late 30s. I peaked over 400 pounds, and I don't know, because the scale couldn't quite weigh me anymore. I was probably in the 450 range, wearing about a 5X shirt, size 60 pants. For a while, I really had given up all hope, much like Vance, as you'll hear a little bit in his story. We're just going to give a little brief story, but had given up hope that it was anything I could do. And I was suicidal. I really was unhappy with myself and my life. But it was the death of my father due to his health habits that kind of woke me up. And I said, you know something? Number one, since we couldn't save his life, I said, I got to promise myself to do something about my own life, and that was really my only solace from my father's death, was to be able to kind of take charge of my life. So I embarked on a journey. We're not going to get the whole story today, but it was really lifestyle changes that I used over time. And I really did it on my own. And I got to tell you, that's the hard way. Not saying that makes me any better or any worse. In fact, I encourage people to use supports and help. But I made it here. I'm about a little over 4 years maintaining. What's great is you've got me here talking about, I've been maintaining for 4 years, so you're going to have a chance to ask me questions about maintenance. And you've got Vance here, who's sort of on Vance. I'm going to say you're probably close. You're not on the tail end, but you're still mid. Vance is still losing. He's in the losing phase, and he's got more weight that he wants to lose. So you get to talk to a guy here who's already lost 200 pounds and has about, another 60, 70 that he wants to go, I believe he told me. So that's why we're here today. So Vance, if you'd like to give a little background on this, don't have to get too deep, but on you and what your journey is.
Yeah, sure. No, I've lost to 214 pounds. I was 475 pounds in November of 2017, and I had bad knees, and I thought I had congestive heart failure, needed knee replacements, and I didn't think, I thought my life was over. I was just basically working
Yeah.
to get my wife a pension and get my kids to the age of 18. So I took a job with the
Yep.
county and started doing that. But made some decisions and turned my life around. And with the help of DDP and all this great support group, this DDP yoga community, I've changed my life around. I lost 198 pounds in 1 year, and I've lost a little bit more. I'm down 214 right now. Last Monday I weighed 261, so I'm hoping to get to 175. So that way I can say I lost 300 pounds.
That's a lot of that's a lot of bread, as my wife would say. That, not that that's bread, but that's incredible. So thank you, Vance, and
Good night,
that's
Larry.
the thing that we really want to just tell people is that although what we've done is difficult to do, we want to try to break down some of those perceptions that, although Vance and I would never tell you that there's no work involved. There certainly is a lot of work. You see Vance's every day, and you see, for those of you who follow me, and I know I got some Hike with Mike fans out here today too. For those who follow me, you see a lot of the work that I'm doing. But if you are in a different place, it may seem insurmountable. But I'm sure you've got questions, and Vance and I are happy to answer them, because it's not easy. It's a lot of work.
No, man, it's
Let
something
me
you got to
scroll through
fight
here.
every day. I've got the same desires and temptations and stresses and triggers that I had when I ate and didn't exercise and got to the point I was at 475. So it's a battle every day, and the goal is just figure out how to make that life work balance and just try to get through it and keep going forward and keep making more good choices than bad.
Hey, Vance, we got a question to you. So Greg Gates, who happens to be a friend of mine, he's living down south now, he asked, Vance, what drew you into the DDP program?
Well, DDP reached out to me. It was January 1st of 2018. He had saw my video on Bert Kreischer's Twitter account when I first weighed in at 475 and saw what I was doing. And he just replied to one of my tweets and said, if you want some help, message me. And so I did. I didn't know who he was at the time, and so I sent him a short message, and he. But then after that, people started telling me I'd be a fool if I don't take any help that DDP's willing to offer me. That he's a fitness guru, and so I went back and wrote a long message, and and told him I really wanted his help. And after that, I just, I knew at that point in my life, everything I had done hadn't worked in the past, so I was willing to try anything. And after watching Jake the Snake, the resurrection of Jake the Snake, I really felt like that DDP had a good heart, and I just committed wholeheartedly to his program, and I didn't look back. I haven't looked back since then. So.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, so DDP is he's professional wrestler Diamond Dallas Page, and I believe he's retired from wrestling, right, Vance?
Yes, he's a 3-time world champion, so a Hall of Fame inducted WWE wrestler, WCW wrestler.
WWE, WCW. Okay,
and
cool.
Now he's
and then Bert Kreischer.
After wrestling, after wrestling, during wrestling he hurt his back, and his wife talked him into doing yoga, and he really saw the benefits of it. But what he did was he took a lot of the spirituality out of the yoga. He took the yoga moves, the stretching and rehab, and added rehab moves and calisthenics and different type of exercise to it. and he
Yep.
turned it into just a wonderful program that totally rehabs the body. It's not yoga anymore. It's a DDP yoga.
That's awesome. Hey, we got another question for you, Vance. You're popular
Sure.
today. Greg asks, did your diet change drastically as well?
Yes and no. Yes, in that I went all organic as much as possible and all natural, and instead of trying to do processed foods and things like that, I do non-GMO, gluten-free, dairy-free. Those all were big changes, but I still try to stay away from as much carbs as possible. That's a big problem of mine, but I try to stick with just meat and veggies is what I eat mainly. But I haven't been doing too good lately. But that's when the weight
Hey, buddy,
falls off,
with you there.
it's meat and veggies. So
Yeah,
but,
boy.
before I'd always done low carb or some type of
Okay.
keto or low carb or something to that effect. So.
All right, looks like you got another question. Sanford McNamara Jr. Vance, what meal plan have you been doing throughout your journey? Okay, I think he's touched on it, but if you don't mind, you could just kind of touch on it again real quick.
Yeah,
What
no,
meal plan
it's
have you been doing throughout your
yeah, it's basically gluten and dairy free. I try to when I'm doing well, try to stick to 3 meals a day, no snacks, and I eat 4 to 6 ounces of protein and some veggies. Try to stay away from you can have gluten free bread, but you try to limit it as much as possible. But mainly it's I get up and I eat breakfast, a couple of boiled eggs, an avocado, and some gluten free oatmeal, and then lunch I have some protein and some veggies, and dinner I have protein and veggies, and I just drink water. And if I can stick to that routine, which is difficult, if I can stick to it, I do well.
All right, I think this is another question here, but they're coming in good. You're a popular guy, so that's fine. We can make this all. Let's see. Mary Jane Medlock. Vance, I know, and I think this is from somebody from Adam Hips. Vance, I know you your before and after photos are serious motivations, but what else keeps you motivated? Meaning, what non-scale victories do you celebrate?
Hey, Mary, thank you for all the support. Mary's been supporting me from the start, but the non-scale victories are just they're too many to count. Being 475 pounds, it's hell, you can't even tie your shoes. You can't even get your damn shoes on in time. And you can't get in and out of cars, and you can't sit on an airplane. It's go ahead, Mike. I keep.
Did you have no, you're cutting me off. Did you have a seatbelt extender for your car? I had one.
Yes.
You actually clip it onto your seatbelt. It was probably about that long. I kept mine too.
I had seatbelt.
I couldn't even get into my. Yep.
Yeah.
I bet you I didn't even know they existed.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't get the seatbelt buckled without them.
No. No.
But you
right,
modify your life. You get used to it.
Right.
You modify your life to fit your what your abilities are, and you get comfortable in that, and you don't want to get out of that that comfort zone.
Yeah, we don't like to change. Well, we're getting some questions here. This is good.
Now look at Adam. Look at Hips there. Adam Hips.
Okay.
He's lost 265 pounds.
Woo! We've got some celebrities in here, man.
He's done DDPY 3,300. I don't know, 33. He can tell you 33,823 days or something like that. How many, Adam?
We got some.
Jessica's down 111. Woo! Good job, Jessica.
That's awesome. Hey, we got a funny one here. I like you guys, and you could keep the funny ones coming. And like I said, Vance and I are willing to answer any kind of questions. Don't worry about asking. Hey, I actually here. Let me get it. I don't know if the guy is on here. I actually had a guy ask me one time, "Does things get better? In the bedroom?" I actually had somebody ask me.
And what'd you say? What was your answer?
You want to hear my answer? Listen, so I'm gonna give you a medical answer, and the truth is, when you take care of your physical body and your heart, because obviously you know that getting down there gets better because of the fact that your cardiovascular is better, your mentality is better, all the things that affect men having trouble at our age with getting an erection. Gets better because of the fact that you're in better health. And so no guarantee for that, but I would say that for guys who are wondering, hey, listen, Vance, I mean, let's face it, guys don't want to have that problem. And there is one non-scale victory to being able to, losing weight is that, sex gets better. I can't, everybody's situation's different, but your heart health, your mentality, and all those things certainly lead to better sexual health.
Well, I believe that. Yeah, I believe that. You also see what's going on.
Well, that's true. I can look down and, hey, I missed you, buddy. It's still there. Real quick here. Gavin, this is cute. I like this. How are you feeling right now, you gorgeous man? I know Gavin Atwood. This must be one of your friends because I don't know. He knows the answer, but feel free.
Gavin started. Hey, Gavin, he lives in the Philippines. He started following me. He's got the best tattoo I've ever seen in the world. He tattooed himself.
Well, we gotta check that out.
And on his back, pointing at himself, where he can look at himself in the mirror and make it look like the tattoo. It's the funniest damn thing I ever seen.
Oh, but he have to see that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, but Gavin, you doing all right? But he's somebody I picked up. He's been following me from the Philippines. He's from England.
Isn't it amazing? Like I was telling you, I was out doing a hike with Mike 3 weeks ago, and this guy says to me, "Bonjour," and I said, "Hey, bonjour," and I'm like, "Where are you from?" And he's like, and he asked me if I spoke French, and I said, "Well, un peu, I speak a little." And I said, "Where are you?" He goes, "Algeria." I'm like, isn't that like in Northern Africa? Oh yeah, I got one follower in South Africa. I got one in Siberia one time. These are crazy places. Real quick, Greg is asking a question. Oh, finally a question for me. All right, here we go. For me and you, Vance. This is to both of us, though. Vance, Mike and Vance, did either of you have any allergies to types of food? I don't really have a lot of food allergies. I'm pretty lucky. My system is pretty good. I'm a little typical of my Jewish roots. I'm a little lactose sensitive at night, and much to my wife's delight. So, but other than that, I don't really have a lot of food allergies. How about you, Vance?
Not that I know of. Yeah, not that I know. I've never been tested for, done that blood test or anything, but not that I know of on food allergies.
All right, here's one from Freddie Kaufman to you, Vance. And actually, if I wouldn't mind answering this one too, because this is one I struggle with as well. Vance, how do you deal with late night feelings of hunger a couple hours after eating dinner? Vance, I do want to have you answer that, but hey, Freddie, I just did a podcast with Dr. Tom Rafai, and check out my podcast, MikeInspiresMe.libsyn.com. Check out the Dr. Tom Rafai podcast. We talk about that. In fact, Dr. Rafai has a binge eating disorder just like me, and we were talking about now. Question about how you do that, it's behavior stuff, okay? And I'll have Vance explain what he does, because I know, Vance, you struggle with it still too. I mean, it's hard. Nighttime seems to be the most common binge eating, and there's several reasons, okay, why people typically, you're not unusual, Freddie, and it's something that we'll always have to deal with, especially those of us who struggle with eating disorders. One of the things at night is because the way your body is relaxed, we're home, we're in a setting, and you're around the food, and as you get tired, those feelings of either hunger or boredom come on very easily. And so I like the feeling of having a little food in my stomach. I don't like going to bed with hunger. And so to me, fullness equals comfort. And when I feel comfortable, I like to lie in bed. Now, it's not always great when you eat right before bed too, because you can wake up with acid indigestion, and it can even interrupt your sleep. So I didn't mean to hijack you, Vance, but I did. That is an area where I have a little, trust me, I did it last night. I ate. In fact, I came back from a concert at 2 a.m. and I ate a big snack and then went to bed. So, but Vance, why don't we talk? So late night feels of hunger. What do you do, or if anything?
Well, I mean, sometimes you just got to give in if the craving's too much, but you try to eat something that's not going to hurt you too bad. You try to eat, some nuts or celery or something that's going to satiate you, but not hurt you too bad, because you're going to have to get that weight off one way or another.
Right.
And but I really think that when I'm doing the best is when I'm sticking to a routine, and I'm sticking to the same foods over and over at the same times, and I've got a clicking routine, and then I dodge those cravings, and I don't eat much carbs when I'm doing that. I think it's the carbs that really give you the that drop in sugar and really cause you to crave. And so, if you stick with protein and veggies, and you stick to a routine and don't overeat, you stay pretty satiated. But if you get out of your routine, or if stress throws you off, or you eat something you're not used to eating, then, it takes you 2 or 3 days to really get back into that habit and get back into routine. It's tough to do. And Jessica's right. I mean, you drink a lot of water, try to fill up that stomach.
Well, yeah, but before bedtime, man, I'm going to be getting up a few times. You and I, we're at that age now. I was like, oh man, I got to get up again at 2, 3 in the morning to pee. You don't eat a lot of dairy, or do you eat dairy, Vance?
No, gluten and dairy free.
You're dairy free. Okay. I do eat dairy. I do limit the amount of dairy, but for those of you who do eat dairy, a high protein like a Greek yogurt too is pretty good satiation before bedtime. But like Vance said, nuts and other things, again, he's talking about, and they're great things. Nuts are high in many things besides vitamins, but protein, fiber, and a lot of little vitamins and minerals and things that are in the nuts. So they're good to if you can eat them. Some people are allergic. But you can Google. There's, the thing I would say is, check out there if you have a nutritionist or a doctor that can make recommendations. And listen, I know people have certain things they don't like to eat too. And, you got to learn to love the foods that love you back, they say. We got another question here. Boy, they're coming in, and I'm pretty excited about that. This is from Gary Gardner, and this is for both of us. And if you want to, I'll have you answer first, Vance. For both of you, how do you get through weight plateaus?
Well, I'm seem to be kind of stuck at this one right now. It's you just keep working. I think your body tries to fight back against you sometimes, and
it sure does.
And you just keep plowing. This is a marathon. This is not something we're ever going to get to a point we can go back and eat like we used to eat. This is a marathon,
right?
And we're going to have ups and downs. There's going to be peaks and valleys, and there's going to be plateaus. But you keep making more good choices than bad. You keep working. You get up every day and put in the time, put in the work, and try to eat best you can, and get up and do it again the next day. And you keep doing it, and we're never going to. We know what our body looks like if we eat the way we used to eat. We're never going to be able to do that.
That's right. If you always do what you always did, you're always going to get what you always got. So, good answer, Vance. And so here, Gary, to answer your question about plateaus from my perspective, let me give you a different thought, and it's a different frame of mind. Now, I do know that some of the programs do emphasize the scale. And the scale is a useful tool. And I'm going to go back to the doctor I spoke to the other day. And if you listen to my podcast with Donovan Green, Dr. Oz's personal trainer, who I interviewed earlier in the week, they're not fans of the scale. They're not fans of it. It is a useful tool to get a gauge, but when you're down where I am, the weight itself, and I'm in maintenance mode, is elusive because I bodybuild and I'm putting on weight, and I don't really pay attention to the scale. If you're in weight loss mode and you're seeing plateaus, don't get discouraged by getting stuck and or putting on weight. You say, well, geez, I ate salad all week, and why did I gain weight? Your body's funny the way it works. There will be times you're going to gain, and our body weight, by the way, weight isn't just fat. I mean, when we say we want to lose weight, we don't mean, muscle. We don't mean water. We mean fat, visceral fat on our bellies and other places where it gets stubborn. That's what we really mean. You don't really want to, especially us guys, we don't want to lose muscle, but we do. And unfortunately, when you lose weight, you're going to lose muscle. You're going to lose water weight. So the scale, when you're looking at it, you may be looking at an increase, and it may be water because of things you ate. Like certain foods can cause you to retain water, and certain foods can, if you're exercising, you're going to gain weight. And if you're lifting weights, and you're going to gain muscle over time. How do I get through the plateaus? I use the scale as a reference, but I don't let it bother me. So to me, it's better to focus on building habits, okay? As Vance was talking about, and you'll hear me talk about too. Make sure you're getting up every day and you're doing something for your health, okay? Whether it's a walk or weightlifting or whatever you like to do. Okay, build habits and just build on them. If you can only walk a quarter mile, walk a quarter mile, then build up on it. But focus more on building health skills for the long term, because this isn't a race to the finish. The finish line happens, and I hate to be morbid, when we die. We should always be focusing on our health. I think that's where we're all here today. We're all concerned about trying to lose weight or get healthy, but it's not this journey. If you're overweight right now, your journey when you get to your goal isn't over. Trust me, because when I lost all the weight, I said, oh, I beat obesity. No, I didn't. I learned habits to help me maintain. I struggle. I struggle with binge eating. I struggle with, ups and downs. I put on a little weight over the winter time because I was down at my mama's down south and eating good food, and that's okay. Don't worry about those things. If you are overall taking care of your health, getting regular exercise, drinking plenty of water, eating whole foods, and when I mean by whole foods, trying to eat foods with one ingredient, eat a tomato. I mean, you can mix them up, but when you go to the grocery store, try to buy a lot less things that are processed and try to get regular physical activity. So focus on habits and building them, and be happy that, hey, all week I got up and exercised. All week I stuck mostly to my eating plan. All right? Cool. All right. Let me see what's going on here, Vance. What do we got going on? We got any other?
I'm laughing at Gavin.
What's going on? I got to start scrolling down here. Okay, here's Freddie. To me. Okay, Mike, after you lost the weight and started just maintaining, were you able to incorporate more foods back into your diet that you didn't eat, losing the weight? Interesting, Freddie. I actually didn't restrict myself. So I didn't go on a diet. And now you're going to hear me preach. I don't like that word. And I'm not picking on you, okay? I really tried to, what I did, I still eat almost everything I always did. There's nothing, I'm going to say, restricted from my, I'm going to say food intake, because I have balance. Now, I can't eat cake. It was funny, my wife and I were just talking about this. We're going to go to a birthday party next week, and I told her, well, I'm going to eat cake when I go there. All right? Now, I don't eat cake all the time. And during my weight loss phase, I still allowed myself, because I shoot for an 80% of clean eating is what I'm going to say. And then the other 20% I allow myself. Because if you deprive yourself, Freddie, you're going to get resentful. And if there's certain things that you like, it's like, again, I'm going to keep bringing up Dr. Tom that I spoke to the other day. It's not like if you smoke one cigarette, you're going to get lung cancer. And like you said, he's not promoting smoking. And it's the same thing here. If you have your cake, you can have your cake and eat it too, but you can't have it every day. And so let your treat be the treat. So to answer your question directly, there weren't really any foods that I completely restricted. I just kind of swapped the way I eat. I eat a lot more vegetables, a lot more lean proteins and things like that. And then once in a while, I dig into my wife's cookies. She hid them from me, and I know where they are, by the way. Right, Terry? I know where they are. Did that answer your question, Freddie? I hope so. All right, what else we got here?
Gavin's messing with me.
All right.
Yeah, Gavin keeps messing with me. That guy's got a sense of humor.
But listen, I wanted people to mess with us tonight. I said, let's, I already went down there. I said we were going to talk about stuff. This is supposed to be fun here. All right, let's see who else we got here. Looking for questions. Here we go. Ready? Gene. I'm sorry, Gene. I'm gonna mess up your name. Ginger. When you were at the height of obesity, did either of you have heart problems? Okay. You want to go first or me?
Yeah, I'll go first. You know what?
All right, buddy.
Back in 2012, I spent 5 days in ICU. My lungs were full of fluid. They first diagnosed me with a pulmonary embolism, and then they said it was congestive heart failure. And so, that's when I quit drinking. Back before then, I drank quite a bit and basically every day. And I went after going in the hospital, and I thought I was going. I didn't think I was going to make it out with that pulmonary embolism diagnosis. And they had people coming to see me. I hadn't seen him forever, asking me if my affairs were in order and all kinds of stuff. So that shook me up pretty good. So when I left the hospital, I hadn't had another drink since July of 2012. Hadn't smoked another cigar since July of 2012. And but I didn't lose weight until 2017, 5 years later. But I thought I had congestive heart failure. I knew I had bad knees, and then finally 5 years, I didn't like the cardiologist in the hospital, so I never followed up with him. And 5 years later, I found another cardiologist and went in for 2 days of tests, and they basically said my heart was normal. So that's when I started. It took me a couple more months, but finally I started exercising, and that's what got me down this road. But I just went to the cardiologist here a couple of weeks ago. I'd been for years diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, I think it is, CVI, in my lower legs, discoloration and circulation issues in my lower legs.
And that's common. I have circulation,
And I had a test last week, and they said they couldn't find any. They said I had normal circulation in my legs. And,
wow. That's great, buddy. Oh, I'm happy.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I've had circulation problems for 10 years, at least. And so that... Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say. I mean, it's just crazy.
Common.
Yeah, all the good effects that happen from getting the weight off and getting back in shape and getting your body back healthy, eating the right foods and doing the right things and living the right life. It's completely amazing.
Yeah, it happens in a lot of different ways. Well, we're getting plowed here with questions. So real quick, Gene, I'm going to tell you from my perspective too, heart problems. Yes, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure. I ended up taking high blood pressure medications for a period of time. I, on 2 occasions, had, I'm going to call it chest discomfort. Left side, it worried me, and I was at work both times. Ended up in the hospital. First time, had a stress test. Checked me out, did the whole thing, scanned my chest, and you've got acid reflux. Okay. Second time, had the same symptoms. Of course, when you're 400 pounds and you're getting chest problems and you're in your 40s, you might want to get checked out. So I went, got checked out again, acid reflux. Lucky. But, which has gone away, by the way, since I've lost weight. What they did tell me is that although my heart was not damaged, there were not any blockages, and I think Vance had the same thing. When you're that big, there's a thickening of the walls of the heart because it has to work so much harder to pump blood to that much flesh. So I did have that. My blood pressure has been normal since I've been maintaining. So yeah, so those things can be reversed. Now, again, there's no guarantees here. You could lose weight and still have high blood pressure because of whatever genetic reasons. You remember, guys, there are things we can control, right? We can control what goes in our mouth. We can control our activity and those things. And then there's genetic things that we can't control. So if you have heart issues, you may always have them too. So, but certainly taking care of your health will increase your chances of longevity. Let me just go down here. Okay, what else we got here? Okay, I've seen your journey over the last couple of months of life for me. Okay, you see any questions here, Vince? There's a lot of, I'm like way behind. Just going down. I saw a question come through. Okay. Dr. Okay. Yep. Just kind of going through. Well, so much great response here, guys. I appreciate it. And I appreciate that you guys have some good questions that are well thought out. Okay, the first 3 letters of diet or diet. Yeah, that's right, Jessica. Diet is right. You don't want to look at things in terms of restriction, right? I mean, when we restrict ourselves, listen, life's too short not to enjoy. I keep using cake because I do like cake, but you can have your cake and eat it too. And so, you don't want to have it every day because it's not a treat. Let a treat be a treat. So, okay, Gavin's got one for me. Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. This one's actually Vance. Good. Vance, why did you have to stop drinking?
Yeah, well, Gavin, nobody really told me I had to. I mean, it was just a scare. I had kids that were in their teens, 12 to 15, and one that was 18, I think, and not doing well financially, and I just needed to make some changes in my life. I had to, the choices I'd made, both food and drinking and everything, had got me into that hospital room.
Yeah.
In ICU for 5 days, and I just knew that I had to make different choices, and so I quit drinking. I shut down my practice. I took a job at the DA. I took the lowest paying job at the county attorney's office, prosecuting tickets, to just to have a regular steady job and to start working toward a retirement, get some type of retirement. And it was I just made a choice. They talk about what's your why. At that moment when I left that hospital, my why was to get my kids to 18 and to get some type of retirement for my wife. Those 2 things were my why, because I knew I wasn't going to be here to see any of the retirement, and I wanted to make.
Boy, were you wrong.
Yeah. But we'll see. But I wanted to make sure those kids were old enough that if they had to go to work and take care of themselves, they could. So the only 2 things I thought about when I left that hospital were getting those kids to 18 and getting something for my wife when I'm gone. So I quit drinking, quit smoking cigars and everything. I used to really like to drink and smoke cigars, and I joked. I joked when the cardiologist cleared me here. This just, but 5 years later, said my heart was fine. I was going to sue the hospital for missing out on 5 years of good drinking time.
Oh my God, you're too much, buddy. You too, bud. If you don't mind, I'm going to actually mention drinking too. So I didn't mention this, but I actually don't drink alcohol, or I at least very much limit drinking alcohol for a couple of reasons. Because I have an addictive type of personality. Although I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic as a frequent drinker, but when I did drink on those infrequent times, I would drink excessively to either very, very drunk or vomiting. I'm sorry to be blunt, and that's typical of people who, have sort of binge behavior, and other substances I've been, in the years past too, I've struggled with. So I avoid alcohol. Once, I think, last time I drank might have been with my wife. We had a glass of wine. I can control to that point, but I am frequently, those of you who follow me know I'm a big metal fan, so I'm in bars at least once a week. And my friends know that, hey, if I'm buying Mike a drink, it's a seltzer. So it's a personal choice. And the other reason is if I'm going to have calories, I'd much rather take it in as food. So, all right, here's one from Greg for both of us. How do you both handle eating around the holidays?
Well,
Vance?
Well, it's I've made it through 2 holidays so far, and I've done pretty well during them. I still tried to stay to the diet, and we just adjusted our meals during the holidays. One thing about my wife is doing the same meal. She's lost 35 pounds. She's kicking ass, but she's doing the same.
Yeah.
She's on the same diet as I am, and so we do the DDP. We whip up some of the DDP recommended recipes, and we feed it to the whole family. And we've got a couple of vegans that eat in our family, and we've got other people that just that are not vegans and meat and potatoes. So we kind of prepare a little bit of everything, but we do good. I've been through 2 holiday seasons without eating any sugared treats. So far so good.
Good for you, man. So here's a funny thing I like to say about I eat actually. I'm going to put guys. Hey, I'm air quoting. Can you see me? Vegan food on a daily basis. So during the week, I eat vegan lunches. One for convenience and health. I like that. Now I do eat meat, but at work I bring vegetables and eat plant-based foods for lunch. We don't have time to get into all the reasons, but to answer the question, Greg's question about holidays, so I do different things. I try to have a balance. So I'll give you an example. I was at Christmas at my mother's down in Virginia this last year, and I went a little hog wild because my mother made a lot of cookies, and I did eat sugar and I did eat carbs during that period, and I did put on fat, during that time period. And I allowed myself because, one, I knew that if I didn't, I would feel resentful and I would feel deprived, which I don't like to do. And I'm at a point in where I am that I hate to use afford because I don't like to say that, but it's okay for me. And I knew that after the holidays, I could go back to my normal. Funny thing, I put on weight, and then immediately after I got home and back in my regular routine, the weight just dropped off just because I ate the way I normally did. Sorry, Mom, but but during the holidays, Greg, what I would say is, it depends on where you are, but just don't. If there's stuff you like, don't make the holidays about restriction. If again, you're gonna hear Dr. Tom's gonna love me because I keep plugging him. We actually talked about that, and social situations can be challenging. And in the past, I used to be extremely strict, and it can isolate you sometimes. In Vance's case, he's got a great point, and that's what I want to talk about, is that you can meet halfway. So I've been at events where you have the mixture of people, and people bring a vegetarian chili, and which, by the way, is just food. So you can eat it, even if you're not a vegetarian, you can eat it. But you can have some balance too. Do what you're comfortable with. If you don't feel right, Vance it sounds like he tends to be a little more strict. That works for him, and I don't judge it. If he doesn't feel deprived, that's great. For me, I don't see my mom very often, and I like her cooking, so I let myself Oh, boy, I really went wild. But anyway, that's how I handle it, if that answers your question. All right, let's take a look here. Thank you, Gavin. Yes, I love that podcast. It's really, well, Gavin's going nuts here. I love you, buddy. Okay, here. Just see. Okay, Joe. Here's a new person here. Okay. Joe Nichols. You sound like people you must, a lot of your connections. That's great. How do you both keep your motivation high? In my journeys, I have highs and lows where I don't want to do anything at all. If you don't mind, I'll jump in that one because that's actually what my whole shtick is about, is motivation and teaching how to self-motivate. So Joe, motivation is a skill that you can learn, luckily, but it takes practice. You've got to kind of fake it to make it sometimes. And I'm going to tell you, you bring up, there's highs and lows. Trust me that there's times, I get up at 5 in the morning and I do my exercise. It's just convenient, and when I do it. There are times I walk in the basement where my gym is and it's cold and I'm just like, ugh. It's more important that I show up and go through the motions and do my workout than executing it perfectly. So as much as you can, try to push yourself at least to stick with the routine more than just like executing it perfectly every time. I'm not saying never push yourself, but don't worry about the highs and lows. Our moods go up and down all the time. But the other thing is as silly as it sounds, and I was never Mr. Positivity, and it's weird because I've changed. Try to, as much as you can, surround yourself with positivity. If you're a spiritual person, do your spiritual things. If, try to read motivational stories. Subscribe to Mike Inspires Me. Check us out, because I'm always trying to get people motivated and inspired and thinking differently. The more you feed positive things in your mind, the less likely you're going to have all these lows as much. You're going to have them. Trust me, I have my low days, but I have a little reminder on my phone that pops up every morning at 6:30 a.m. and it says, today is going to be a great day. And I read it because by putting that in my mind, it's much like what I feed in here, okay? Body, mind, and spirit. You got to feed positivity. You feed crap in here, well, you get what you get. And it's the same thing here too, as much as you can. I try to avoid the news as much as I can, not to say that I'm ignorant, but there's too much negativity out there. So try to keep your motivation high. You got to Vance and I can sit here and inspire you all we can, but we can't motivate you unless you build it up. And it's just a skill. I hope that helps. All right. Vance, do you have any recommendations for keeping your motivation?
I would say, I tell people to embrace the low days because you're making big changes in your life. Your food, the things you eat, the exercises, you're making total lifestyle changes to everything that you've grown up and become accustomed to, your family events, your ways of celebrating and entertainment. And, you're going to have these lows and you're not doing it right if you don't. If everything's peachy keen and you never have any low days, and you're not trying hard enough. And so during those low days, just take it as a sign that you're doing the right thing, because you're making hard enough choices that it puts you into that situation, and then do what you got to do to get through it. That's what I was talking about. Do like my dog Fifi does. If you get down and make a mistake, kick some grass on that shit and walk away. And
I think about that. You know how many times I've thought about that since you told me that? Dude, we got to sell T-shirts. You're going to make $1 million with a T-shirt. Kick some grass on that shit.
Yeah, that's right. Walk away. Leave it alone and get back to work. Tomorrow's going to be a new day. Get back on the mat or get back in the gym or get back on the good food. And,
that's right. Yep.
It's just the way it is. That's the way life is. You take the good days the bad days so that you understand and enjoy the good days.
That's beautiful. Hey, Vance, just real quick, just for our listeners, We are about 1 minute to the hour, which that's fine. We did start a little late. Vance, are you okay to stay on a few minutes longer so we we got a lot of questions. I want to try to get to a few more and to be mindful. It's about 9 p.m. Eastern here, and I know Vance is 8 p.m. Central where he is. We do have jobs in the morning, and Vance is an early guy like me too. So we'll stay up because this is important to us. And in whatever questions, if we have a whole bunch at the end, we'll try to get to you guys separately after. And I do want to say this, okay? If you guys really like this, Vance and I could talk, and maybe we'll do another one of these in the near future too. But let's try to get through a couple more of these, and then I want to leave a minute or two for Vance and I to plug how to get a hold of us for those who don't know, because we're kind of cross-pollinating. Gary has a good question here because this is a question I've been asked. Gary Gardner, Mike, did you end up with loose skin? Yes, around my abdomen a little bit. My arms, not too bad. You can see it's actually, but I have pretty big arms too. But that's a common area. So here's what I've learned. I've done some extensive research on it. Dermatologists say this: your skin elasticity is a genetic thing, okay? And it also has to do with age. Now, you could probably see a lot of my photos, and I got like shine coming off my forehead. I should powder it before I get on camera. But I have oily skin, and my skin tends to be a little more elastic. For 49, I don't have a lot of wrinkles. Actually, Vance is pretty unwrinkly there too. He's got a couple years on me. And but everybody's skin's different. So I can't guarantee. I've seen people lose less weight. I've seen people lose 100 pounds and end up with like a mess hanging off their abdomen. And I've decided not to go the surgery route just because I don't see the point of it. Now, do I have Adonis abs to be walking around with without a shirt? Well, listen, I'm dealing with what I have, and I'm not worried about it. It's a good question, Gary, but here's the way I look at it. Aesthetics are nice, and we all want to look nice, but my health is in order here, and my health inside my body is good. So if I got to deal with this, at least I'm not 400 and whatever pounds I was and miserable. So, but good question. It does come up, and who knows? With everybody, it's different. All right, let's take a look through here. Yeah.
And I tell people that are concerned with that, it's like having to pay taxes for making a lot of money. That's a good problem to have, I mean, if you're worried about loose skin because of how much weight you lost, then that's a good damn problem to have. And so get the weight off and then figure out what you want to do. I kind of think right now I have no intention of doing anything for the loose skin. I kind of earned that loose skin, and every one of those wrinkles is a good steak or a good red glass of wine. And at this point I don't want to I don't want to do anything. But in the future, if my wife leaves me, I guess if I have to try to attract the opposite sex, I guess I might do something. But right now I don't have any plans to.
Yeah, I think she'd have a little problem with that, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Hey, we got another question here from my buddy Steve. Okay, so this is coming from one of my good friends. And I want to put, Steve's a great guy. Steve actually knew me for a long time. He's known me through my entire journey. I actually work with him. I've worked for him and with him, and then he's a good friend of mine and a big supporter of mission. He says, having gone through both your journeys, so Steve's seen your journey too, Vance, what is the one life learning value or habit you would want for your audience to learn from you?
Ooh, that's a tough question, huh? The one thing?
You want a minute to think about it? You want a minute to think about it?
No, I just.
You got it? All right.
I got it. My dad's. I'm one generation from picking cotton. My family were black dirt farmers here in Ellis County, and they were sharecroppers, and he put himself through law school, my dad did, and on the GI Bill, and but he picked cotton as a kid, and his parents and family were farmers here in Ellis County, and they over the years, every time he would I'd ask him, if times gets hard or times gets rough or something happens, he'd always say, I don't know what the future brings, but you just got to keep plowing. And so, if they learn anything from me, I want to tell them just keep plowing.
Yeah, I like that. Just keep it moving, right? Just keep it moving.
Yeah, whatever happens, you got to keep plowing that field and cultivating that garden.
You got a lot to say, Vance. You're gonna have to get like a library of these sayings or write a book or something. I think they're very valuable. They're good. Or you got a lot of slogans that could go on mugs and T-shirts.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, Steve, what I would say, the lesson I would say, it took me a while to learn, and I think a lot of people don't think about this, is that we're on this earth for a short period of time, and one of the most important things we're doing is surviving every day. So your health is probably the most important thing. If you don't have that, and you probably don't know until it's gone, you can't really be of any use to anyone. So I always say your health is an investment in your future, because we invest in a lot of things, 401ks and whatever else, hobbies and stuff, but this is the best investment, no matter the amount of money we got to put into it or what, because people will say, I can't afford to eat healthy, or I can't afford to go to the gym. Well, there's other ways around. And honestly, your number one priority, again, I can't say that because it's for you, but for me, my number one priority is my health. So, all right, let's take a look here. Hey, Justine. All right, here's another one from Gavin. What clicked for you to make a change, Mike? Okay, can I answer? It's just stuff. Things change. I am very thankful to see you guys live right now. Vance Hinds, and that is true. Okay. Not sure I understand. Is he asking me? Okay. What clicked with me to make a change? Honestly, I mean, I'd always wanted to change, but what finally made me decide is my father had lung and colon cancer, and the lung cancer probably did him in. And I was in the room when he was passing away. I was actually with my brother and my dad's best friend, and I witnessed my father die right there in the room, and I watched him struggle. And during that struggle, as I watched his face, I felt like I could see regret on his face. He was 63, and at that moment, it was so surreal that I said to myself, "Holy cow!" I mean, I was at my worst in health, and it scared me. I had only seen one other person die before my eyes, and that was my grandmother. And it wasn't like the way my dad died. I believe at the end he actually had his heart had stopped, but that was really the moment that I decided to change. All right, let me see here. Okay. Just had surgery. Yeah, Jessica had surgery and was so mad that she couldn't work out. I was very depressed and had to push through it. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Okay, let's hear. Yeah. How do you break? Okay, from Sue Stott. How do you break the bad habit of going to junk food when stressed? You want to take that one?
Well, I'm still struggling with that. That's a hard one for me. When I get under stress, I eat, and I usually don't crave good things, and so it's a very different. That is hard for me, and I just try to be conscious of it, and if I do succumb to the temptation, I try to eat good food, and just know I got to work harder and do better and get it off. I don't want to damage the work I've put in so far, but the goal is to do other things to try to alleviate the stress. Yes. Yeah, I started doing some mindfulness and some breathing exercises, and or just getting on the mat and doing yoga, and and that kind of
replacing the behavior
takes your mind off of it some. Yeah, and that helps a lot, but but it's not going to help every time, but anything you can
Did I lose you, Vance?
Did I lose you?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. It's like choppy, but I'm okay. I don't know if it's me or you.
Well, that was it. I didn't have anything else to say.
Yeah, and also you answered pretty much the way I would have. I agree with Vance. Trying to learn, and you might have to force yourself to, and you can actually kind of head it off. I'll give you an example. If you're regularly exercising, you're going to be burning off some of that stress, and maybe a couple times a day you need to either take a walk or something, because there's stress every day in our lives. Okay, good and bad. I mean, here's a funny thing. I belong to Toastmasters, and I do speeches, and I get a high off of them. I go up and I speak for 5 minutes, and it's exciting for me. All right, but for some reason, after the Toastmasters meeting, which is usually 9 p.m., I'm starving from the stress, and it's a good stress. And sometimes I cave in. Terry and I run over to CVS and we grab some snacks. Sometimes I try to buy healthy snacks, but it's hard to stave it off. I admit. But as much as you can to try to, like Vance said, learn replacement behaviors, that'll help. It's never perfect. Don't expect it to be perfect, okay? You're gonna have those moments, and allow yourself to screw up, because you're gonna. So, and it's okay. Just try to. All right, Gavin, you're quite this guy is our biggest fan here. This is awesome.
Gavin. You're going to have to see his back tattoo.
Signs up too much, Mike. No one likes a show off. Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay. Okay, hey Vance. Okay, Win Stowcop. Hey Vance, we got a walking group here. Hatchie, you think you could join us? That's cool. Awesome.
Well, no, this is a group I walk regularly with, and he's being tongue in cheek, saying I hadn't been showing up. I've been too busy doing other things. So that's a poke at me.
Okay. Oh, here's one from Jessica Garan. And we're at 9/11. How you doing, Vance? You good? You still good? Or
yeah, I'm good.
Take a couple more. Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Jessica's got a question for you. All right. Jessica says, Vance, how many times do you work out in a day?
Ooh,
I'd like to know that too.
Well, right now, yeah. Well, right now it's evolving. So right. $40 at night. So I do a shorter session in the morning. Ride my bike to work just to get the bike exercise in, and try to swim at least. Did I lose you, Mike? You're kind of cutting out.
All right. Am I cutting out or are you cutting out? I'm cutting out?
I don't know. Did you hear my answer?
Okay. I know. I can't tell if it's on your. I heard some of it. It was choppy, but I don't know if I'm having connection. Being on a cell phone, it's
Yeah.
All right. Looks like all right, so we got another question from Gavin. Gavin, I appreciate it because you're keeping the show moving along, so I appreciate that. Seems like a cool dude. All right, Gavin. Question: do both you guys watch Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson? No, I haven't actually watched it. I'm aware of what it is. It's pretty much interesting show. I'm aware because I saw Mike Tyson on the Joe Rogan podcast, and all right. And I don't know. I've never actually watched it. I don't know if you have. All right. All right. Okay. So Steve said it was Vance that was breaking up a little bit. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. But I think you're steady now. All right. Looks like we got a lot of questions. Are we missing anything else? Oh, I lost Vance. Oh, reminds me of talking more with Jordan. Yeah, it looks like Vance was probably having a little connection issues. Well, we're about 9:14. I'm going to give a second here. Maybe Vance will join back on. I'm going to go through the list here and see what other questions we got. Oh, about fasting. Sure, we'll answer that one. And then we got to probably wrap up here in a second here. Great question, Steve. And Steve knows because we've talked about this. Fasting is an interesting concept. In early days when I tried it, if you have an eating disorder, in my opinion, it can be tricky. Because when you fast, you're essentially starving yourself, especially if you do, say, like a water fast or intermittent fasting. There's a whole bunch of them out there. So I'm going to say this first, okay? If you're considering a fast, check with your doctor before doing one. All right, so that's kind of my little disclaimer. All right, don't mess with your eating patterns, especially if you have diabetes and other conditions that are related to eating. But my personal experience with fasting of late is that I find that it helps me gain control over when I eat and over my binge eating. And it's strange because I can do a 3-day water fast, literally with no food and not cheat. But then if I allow myself to eat for some reason, and I go, brrr, and I talked about that again with a couple of the doctors, and there's trigger foods that help. But fasting does a couple things for me, especially since I work out. It helps me get a lot more energy. I think because over a couple of days, your body purges a lot of the stuff that builds up inside, and you get a chance to kind of empty out. So it flushes your body a bit. And mental clarity, it's amazing. And I've mentioned in some of my Hike with Mike sessions that that hiking kind of gives me mental clarity. But fasting, I'm just amazed, especially once I'm on my third and final day when I do a 72-hour fast. Boy, I'm on fire. But it's a double-edged sword. You got to be careful because if you're a binge eater, and even if you're not, you could end up. Oh, here's Vance. You could end up wanting to jump right in and just overeat. Let me see if I can get Vance back in here. Let me do this here. Let me try this here. All right, trying to get Vance back in. All right, I just sent him a request. He might be having connection problems. All right, Gary. Mike, how did you get into motivational speaking? It's a funny thing. I do list myself as a motivational speaker. Motivational speaking is one aspect of what I do. I fell into it. I didn't think it was anything I was ever going to do. When I first started my journey, I just wanted to get, sure, Gene, we can get back to him. It looks like we're trying to get him back in. But when I initially lost weight, I just wanted to not be miserable anymore. But what I started seeing is people really enjoyed and were benefiting from me sharing. And I found I was good at speaking. So I just started doing it. And it started, actually, Steve, who's on here with me, encouraged me to do some Facebook Live broadcasts. So that was initially how I started coming out and doing that. I started writing about my experiences. And eventually I joined the international speaking organization called Toastmasters, which has helped me hone my skills a little bit. I'm by far not a Tony Robbins, but on the other hand, my skills are more around just kind of being passionate about health and being passionate about helping people. And that's how I got into it, was just having a passion for what I do, because it's kind of
it's kind of symbiotic. The more I inspire people, the more I want to take care of myself. And the more I take care of myself, the more I inspire people. All right. Do we have any other questions? We're about 20 after the hour. This has been a great session. It's gone longer, which means there was a lot of interest, and I appreciate everybody's enthusiasm about asking questions. So it's been really good. All right. If there's no other questions at the time, what I want to do first is I want to plug, if you guys are looking, for those of you who are new to Vance, it seems like we got a lot of Vance fans on here, but for those of you who are new, Vance Hinds is his name. So you can find him on Facebook to follow him. It looks like he's trying again. Vance, are you here? Let's see. Trying to get him.
Oh, all right, am I back in?
You're back.
All right, let me.
Okay.
I was moving around, see if I could get better service.
All right. Well, this is probably a good. We're about 20 after here, and I was just kind of stalling, but I was answering some questions at the end. Some people missed a little bit what you said, but that's fine. If you wanted to get back, I don't even know if you remember what your last question was. That's fine. We can always go through some of these comments here and just take a look and see if we've missed stuff. But what I was trying to do, we just got Gary's asking us, will we be doing this again? Well, Vance,
yeah,
interested in doing a Q&A session, and you said to me, Mike, my commitment to yes.
That's right. That's right. No, when I started with two principles. One was to commit to yes. That means people my whole life had always tried to get me to go walking and go do different things, and I'd always kind of dance around the issue and not show up. But so I said this time, if anybody volunteers, I'm going to commit to yes and make them pick a date and a time, and I was going to be there. And so I started with the commitment to yes, to try new things, and the second thing was to post everything online. And those two principles got me to everywhere I am here today. So when you ask me if I'll do this thing again, I'm always going to say yes.
All right. So there's your answer. All right. So yeah, Vance and I offline, we'll meet up, and he and I will try to figure out another time we can do this. I've got some commitments coming up this month, but I'm sure we can find some time, because something, Vance, I just love doing this, and I love just talking with you too, man. We got to get together sometime.
Yeah, well, let's do it, Mike. I appreciate everybody listening, and
we'll definitely do.
I appreciate everybody asking the questions and listening, and I had a great time. And if I can help anybody lose weight or inspire them to make a change in their life, I'll do anything I can to help them. I love it. So Vance, you want to just, for some of the followers who don't know you, quick little plug on where to find you? Yeah, I've got a podcast that's been neglected since my video went viral, but it's extrausual.com. But I'm on Facebook as Vance Wade Hinds. I'm on Instagram as Vance_Hinds. I'm on Twitter as LawDog1515, and I'm on YouTube as Doghouse15151515. So, but I've got a lot of different social media accounts out there that I post on. So, you can find me somewhere. Follow me, and I post everything online, and so just follow along, and I'll help you if I can. Yeah. So. Yeah, he's got some great stuff out there, guys. Definitely. Well, guys, I've really enjoyed this. This is, it's amazing how much the helping that we do helps us too. Believe it or not, it keeps me enjoying my life and enjoying what I do and wanting to continue to stay healthy for myself and as a role model. So it's a great kind of symbiotic thing. You guys can find me. I'm on Mike Harrington Official is my Facebook page, or you can look up Mike Inspires Me for my my business page. Either way can get to me. My website, MikeInspiresMe.com, has my story. It's got some video links, and then my podcast, which is on Google Podcast. I think I'm getting out onto iTunes. Steve, I think I figured out what the problem was. I'm on most of the major ones, Spotify, all that. Mike Inspires Me is the podcast. You can see Vance is awesome in it. We got about, a 2-hour interview with you, buddy, that's out there. And got some other great guests as well.
Got Dr. Oz's personal trainer, Donovan Green, just this past week, and Dr. Tom Rafai. And for the ladies, we have a female that just recently told her story. She was also an attorney, by the way, Vance. I don't know what is it about attorneys. Her name's Charlene Bazarian. She lost 100 pounds. We're good friends. I met her personally. She lives outside Boston. I hope you guys had fun. Vance, I had fun. And let's see if we're missing anything here. Just a lot of thanks and accolades. Great. This is great.
All right, Mike. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for setting it up, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks for you.
Thank y'all.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.